Good afternoon. Hello, everyone. My name is Jared. I'm one of the team members with Podcast Movement, and I'm very excited today to have Michael Sieb here. Michael is coming from, or he's streaming live from Berlin, Germany, and he is the co-founder of Type Studio. And today he's going to talk to us about basically how Type Studio can help podcasters to create content. He's not just going to focus just on Type Studio, of course, but definitely going to share with us a little bit about it, which we're excited to see and hear about. And so, Michael, thank you for being willing to share with us and share with the community today. And I'm just going to turn it over to you. But before, at the beginning here, if you could just maybe give a little bit of a background of your story and maybe tell a little bit about Type Studio for people that aren't familiar with it, and then we'll just dive right in.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks for having me. I actually created the first slide is a little introduction about me or myself, and also about Type Studio before I get into the topic. So I would say I would just go ahead and start sharing my screen, and then we can start right away. Okay, let me see if you can see my screen. Okay, here we go. Oh no, I don't want to go live. Here we go. Is it working or?
Yeah, it looks like we're good to go.
All right. Okay, so actually the topic, or I created a little presentation for you guys about how you can repurpose your podcast. And I bring 6 ways to better promote your podcast on all the social media channels and all the other possibilities that are out there. Short overview. First, I will start with an introduction so that you actually know who I am, what I'm doing on a daily basis. Then I will talk a little bit about why repurposing matters, or why is it important and actually saves you a lot of time. And then the 6 ideas for repurposing, so what you can actually do with your podcast episode. And after that, we will jump into a Q&A, I guess, and just discuss some stuff. So let me introduce myself. I'm Michael. I'm 27 years old. I'm based in Berlin, in Germany. I studied previously medical technology, or biomedical technology actually, and then also computer science afterwards. And I'm one of the 4 co-founders of Type Studio, which is a text-based video editor and also podcast editor, which is very excited, I guess. And I'm basically responsible for all the marketing and the growth. I also had bring you a little screenshot of our tool. So this is how Type Studio looks like. And as I already said, it's a text-based editor. So you upload your media. It can be a video, but also just your audio file, your podcast episode. And we will transcribe it automatically into text and then make the whole media editable through the text. So you can, I guess most of you are familiar with Descript or probably heard about them. And this is a little comparison. It's very similar, I would say, but the special thing is we run in the browser, which allows us to do much more things than just edit your files. When you want to, what text-based editing means, you can just highlight some sentence, some bloopers, some mistakes you have during your recordings, and you just delete the text, and the media file, if it's a video or audio, will adapt the changes. And so you can easily cut and edit your files. And then also I will show you later on some nice stuff you can do with it as well. Let's first talk about why repurposing matters, why you should repurpose your podcast. You spend lots of time to creating your podcast, inviting a guest, recording the episode, and then the audio only, I said lacks the visual appealing. It's hard to post it on your social media platforms, just the audio file doesn't really work. So let's see what you actually can do with it, because yeah, I mean, you publish it on all the platform. I mean, you're most often familiar with them, like on Spotify, on your Google or Apple podcast. Just publish them and ship them. But yeah, what happens then? Like, you have to take care about like getting new listeners, grow your audience, and yeah, that most often happens not automatically. So you have to do something for that. And I just like saw yesterday a nice tweet from Dave. He actually said like that are like what is it, 45 or 44% of like the podcasts that started there. Like there are millions of podcasters, they have less than 3 episodes, and then they actually stop because maybe they are like not happy with like how it goes so far, and that like it's hard to gain like a big audience. It will take time for sure. And then also I found a quote from Esprit, which is actually one of our happy customers, so very proud that she used Type Studio. She like describes it as like the pod fade, which is like you put for like creating your podcast very very quick, and because you are probably not happy about the results. So that's where we want to repurpose like your podcast episode to actually promote it on all like the social media platforms that are out there. And therefore I bring like 6 ideas how you can do that. So let's start right away with the first one. So the first one is create video snippets out of it. As I already said, audio only, it's hard that it works on social media channels, like on LinkedIn, Twitter, you name it. So you can create like little video snippets out of your podcast episode. And there, like Type Studio, actually like the screenshot on the right is from Omar Khan. It's actually one of my favorite podcasts. I'm listening on a regular basis because he's like interviewing like SaaS founders, such as I'm one. So it's very nice to get some insights from them. But he actually used Type Studio to create this LinkedIn post where he took like a little snippet from his entire recording, and actually also added a thumbnail from his guest, and the logo on the bottom, and also added some subtitles to make it like visual appealing, and then posted it on LinkedIn to like promote his new episode. And that's a very great way to like actually repurpose your content, because I think, or like you can actually create like a whole episode of posts from one recording, where you, for example, create like the 5 best learnings I've learned from my podcast guest, XYZ, whatever, and then like have like actually content for the next few weeks, and on the side promote your episode itself. So yeah, and what I wanted to highlight here is you really whenever you like post on the social media platforms, you should have like, you must add subtitles to it, because I mean, you often see also like this audiograms, which are also working quite well, but subtitles are really the most important thing, because there are studies that actually above 80% on the social media or like the people on watching like the videos without sound on across the social media channels. So it's so important to grab their attention, and make it accessible for them to actually consume your content, because like the attention rate on social media, it's so less. They scroll through the news feed, and you actually want to grab their attention. So, and then also that they can understand what it's about by just reading the subtitles. So that's very important. Couldn't highlight that enough. I see it all the time that that people who actually start using or like adding subtitles to their content perform much better and are really happy about the results. So definitely do that. The second one, automatic resizing for all the platforms. So there are so many platforms and they all have different requirements in terms of the aspect ratio, but then also, of course, like also the content length. For example, on YouTube, like 8 or 12 minutes perform pretty well. Then on the other hand, on Instagram, maybe less than a minute, it's perfect. But what really is important to resize it in the different aspect ratio. That's a huge pain to do it by like all the editors that are out there, and we really focused on making that as easy as possible. Within a few clicks, you can easily adjust like the size and drag and drop everything together that it fits, like that it looks good, and can like actually create like from a square image like a horizontal video. You can like do all the different aspect ratios, and that's just with a few clicks. So that's one feature that people really love in Type Studio. So yeah, that's a great way to actually make your content. If you already like want to post it on the different channels, actually make it perfect, make it so that it performs pretty well, and will be shown in the best way. Yes, that's the automatic resizing for all the prompts. Also, you can like easily create from one content or like from one snippet. You have like multiple versions and distribute them on all the channels. And one example, like great example, I've like added some screenshots down below from Gary Vaynerchuk. I might know him. He's doing that. Like he basically created this Gary V, or create content like Gary Vaynerchuk. He's like creating one podcast episode or one interview and then make so much content out of it and bring it into different aspect ratios, add some headlines that are catchy and stuff like that, and post it on all the different channels. So that's definitely a huge thing. And let's jump into the next one. That is transcribe your podcast. And we, as Type Studio, it's like in our nature to automatically transcribe everything you will upload. Rather it's a video or an audio file, we transcribe the whole thing. And when you think about, like, there will be always people who prefer reading over listening, and then also make it accessible for the people who can't really hear well. So you transcribing your spoken words into written text brings or opens a whole new world. And like you can do so much with it. For example, you make your entire podcast episode searchable. So that means like actually the search engines will understand what the content is about, and you can start ranking if you want to like create a long blog article from your interview or your podcast episode in general, and you really get like organic traffic, because like suddenly your website with the content will start to rank, and because like the search engine understand what it's about and can rank for like specific keywords. So that's a great way. You can, in Type Studio, you can like easily copy paste or export the whole transcript, so that you can like build an article out of it. But there's a better way, which brings us to the next point. We built this sharing page where you actually can turn your podcast into an interactive blog article, and that's pretty new. That's one advantage that actually nobody else can really do at this point. When you're ready with the editing in Type Studio and will export your file, you will get to the sharing page, which you then can embed via an iframe, you will get this like little code snippet, and you can post it or like put it into your WordPress blog, your Ghost blog, Webflow, whatever like website architecture you have or like framework you use. Just put in this iframe, and you will have like the finished episode, like the video, or if it's just an audio file on top, and down below this interactive article, like this text where this marker jumps through word by word what it's spoken in the content itself, and people actually can really interact with this interactive transcript. They can jump from different points, they can follow better like what the content is about, and people really love that, like that they can just with a click can create a blog article out of their podcast episode. So that's really nice, and a great way to repurpose your audio file into a written article again. And let's jump in the next one. That is send your episode by mail, and that's also very nice. If you have like a newsletter audience with some email subscribers, you can send like your latest episode directly via mail. So you don't have to just to post it on audio. Different social media channels, but also mail is still a huge thing, and people are reading mail. So if you have some subscribers to your newsletter or whatever, you can send them an email, and therefore we've created like a link from our sharing page, which you then can just put into your email. For example, you can like send them an image, like for a thumbnail of your episode, and put the link behind. So if they click on the image, they will come to the sharing page, and they can actually listen to the content without having to download it or install anything. They can just easily listen to like your episode in the web, in the browser, live on the go. And so you can in a nice way distribute your content by sending it via email. And the last one, it's internationalize your content. Another thing that we recently implemented into Type Studio is that you actually can translate your video or audio file into different languages, and that's actually really nice. If you have like an international audience, you can also expand your reach when you just like produce content, for example, in English. I mean, here in Germany, I know many people who are not that good in English or like can really understand it. So, or they need the help of like, for example, translated subtitles for actually get access to the content or understand it better. And there's like, it's pretty nice to like get your content with one click translated into multiple languages. I guess we support like 30 different so far, and so you can like easily make it accessible for people in foreign countries to actually consume your content. And that's also a nice way to grow your audience, and also a way to repurpose your content again. And that are like the 6 things I came up with. How you you don't need much time for doing this, but it's actually the quintessence. You have to be consistent. You have to publish the content on a regular base. That's how you will grow your audience. And therefore, I mean, when you are not like full-time in your podcast business or have many people who will help you, it's so time consuming to create so much content and on a regular base and post it on all channels. So that's why we built Type Studio, to really on the first make it really easy to use, that everybody is able to edit their content and create great looking content, and then also make it possible that you don't have to like spend hours of time like creating all this stuff, rather than just like repurposing your one recorded episode and make so much out of it. And yeah, so that's my little presentation. And now I'm very curious about like a little Q&A. I'm happy to have a chat with you guys. If you have any questions, ask along. And yeah, looking forward.
Yeah, we do have a couple questions, and I appreciate this, Michael. So one of the questions that popped up is basically the inspiration behind creating Type Studio. Tell us a little bit about what went into that.
Oh yeah, sure. So actually, we started in November 2019 with a different idea. We wanted to create a micro-learning app where we summarize online courses, and therefore we spoke with a lot of online course creators from Udemy, Skillshare, you name it, and figured out, okay, they are all experts in their field, but they don't have really experience in editing, and they can't really handle all this. We started with video in the beginning. They can't really handle Premiere or Final Cut and all the other editors out there. And we thought, okay, how we can make a much leaner and simpler editor for like actually this content-based, this content-focused content, where it's all about, you don't have to skip through a timeline where you can see the content itself. So we thought about how can we make it much easier, and then we came up with the idea to actually transcribe the content so that you can actually see what's the content about, and make the editing into the text. And it's just as easy as editing a Google Docs, and everybody can do that. So that's the idea behind.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. You mentioned the resizing of images, which I think is super important, and some people just kind of go with one image and don't think about the different sizes that different platforms require. Now, if you're not using Type Studio, where can someone simply find out what the correct sizes of an image would be on like an Instagram versus Twitter? Do you have an answer for that?
Yeah, actually, we in the drop down, when you have the in our menu where you choose the size in which you want to resize the video, we actually have the recommendation for which, for example, a square format is perfect for Twitter, and then YouTube you should go with the a 60:9 aspect ratio. Then in the Instagram Reel or in the story, you should go with the 9:60 aspect ratio. So we have written it down below and gave the information there, so you actually just can see what you need and change it to the right format.
Okay, and another thing that I think is really interesting about Type Studio is you said that it has the ability to create an interactive blog article. Is that blog article just the transcription of the audio? Is there a way to see an example of this? Maybe you can bring up your screen again, and we can just kind of see an example of an interactive blog article that a podcaster could use with Type Studio. I'm curious to see what that looks like. Is that just the transcribed text? Is it something different?
Yeah, let me. I'm not sure if I find that quick one because when I want to show it, I have to render it first that I get to the sharing page. But I can.
Yeah, if there's a way we can look at it, great. And if not, we'll move on. But
1 second.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, I will ask Colin if he can send me the link, then I can show you. But yeah, in general, I can explain it already. It's the idea is the sharing page. You have the finished edited video or audio file above, and then down below this interactive or the whole transcript. And you can actually we need some stuff to implement, but you can actually start to style it. You can build paragraphs, and what's coming in the near future is that you can build subheadlines and also add images, so that you actually can create a whole article, a proper article, not just a transcript which is just one big paragraph of text, which is not that nice to read through, but actually have this nice blog format, and that you can actually style it. But that's one feature that's coming in the future. In the near future, actually, it's already on our
So currently it would be the transcribed audio, but then you would just kind of style it.
Exactly. You can style it with like paragraphs and stuff and a proper headline. Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. And then you said that you can send the episode via email. So you're not actually integrated to like MailChimp or anything like that. It just gives you an output that you can then insert into whatever email program that you're already using.
Yeah, exactly. You either can embed it with the iframe, you also which you use to embed in your blog article or in your blog template. But you can also just share the link of which brings you to our sharing page itself. But yeah, it's not like
that's cool.
Any program.
Sure. And then the translation thing I think is interesting because being in the United States and to just take for granted that people listen in English. And that's a question I had. The podcast listeners in Europe, do they want translations of English speaking podcasts? Do they, is that something that people wish they had in Europe? This was the first time I've ever really thought of that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I talked to some podcasters here in Europe, and they actually say it's a huge thing for them because they have audience in their countries who are not able to speak English. I mean, here in Berlin, everybody speaks English or like can understand it at least. Or I myself consume content in English much. Like I prefer to consume content in English than in German actually. But there's like so many people, millions, who are actually not able to speak English, but I think it's nice to actually make it accessible for them that they also can consume or have the chance to consume your content. That's definitely in Europe. I mean, we have so many different languages here. It's a thing. It's definitely a thing.
Wow. So if I understand correctly, if someone has a podcast that's in English, whether that's in the UK, Australia, United States, if they make a transcribed version of the audio that's in German, for example, that might be something that actually creates more opportunities for listeners in Germany because then they'd be able to follow along better. Is that, am I understanding that correctly?
Exactly.
Okay.
And then a great way I also recommend people like doing a video podcasting so that you have like more flexibility with like distributing your content and already have like a video content from your podcast episode, not just only the audio file. And then you can do like the translated subtitles, embed them into your video, and you can like give it to the people who need it to understand what's about. And so that's one way you can do it, or you can just like translate the whole transcript into different languages and share it along with your episode.
Excellent. Okay, let's see here. This is a question. So understand from an SEO perspective, there's a boost by publishing our transcripts and show notes on our websites. But does the podcast popularity suffer because there are fewer listening? So I think Michael might be concerned. Okay, are people listening, or they're just reading along? What's your answer to that, Mike?
Great question. I would say it really doesn't like matter if, or like you won't lose some audience of your podcast listener. I myself, I love listen to podcasts much more than reading. It's very I'm not the big reader. I've never was. So, but you actually can gain new additional followers by ranking on Google. Make your content accessible for the search engine, that they understand what's your topic about. You start to rank for different keywords that are included into your episode or in your conversation with your podcast guests. So that's like definitely just in addition, you can reach more people, and I'm pretty sure you won't lose like some of your listeners.
Excellent. Well, as we start to wrap up here, Michael, for people that want to stay connected with you and just kind of what you're working on with Type Studio and other projects, what's the best way that they can connect with you online?
It's you can follow me on, or you can definitely find me on all the social media channels. I'm most active on LinkedIn actually, and then also Twitter. My handle is Michael /Sieb. I also showed it in the last slide, or you can just search for Michael Sieb on LinkedIn. You will find me. If you'd like to shoot me an email, you can send me an email, michael@typestudio.co. And our website is typestudio.co, so you can also find some more information about us or me over there. And yeah, actually, one of my teammates just sent me like a link for a sharing page. Maybe I can just share it real quick that you can see like how it looks like. So I will start.
Yeah, if you don't mind.
Again.
Thank you.
Yeah, sure. Okay, here we go. So this is like the sharing page. So you can see this is the interactive article which I talked about. You can just like go.
My name is Alex.
See how the little indicator jumps through each word that is spoken, and then you can like go to different parts. Now it's like popping up in the down below when you go further down, that you can see it on the side. But yeah, you can like style it, give it a headline, give it some paragraphs, and then in the future you can also like add images in between and also sub-headlines. But for now it's just a transcript with like a little bit of styling. But yeah, that's how the sharing page works.
As well as
you can like everybody can watch it in the browser online. You don't have to download it. You actually can download it, so it gives the possibility, or you can like take this iframe and embed it somewhere you want, like basically similar to YouTube videos, which you can embed everywhere you want. So that's the sharing page.
Okay, yeah, that's excellent. At least that's a nice for somebody to be able to just craft something based off the transcription, which is a good thing. Michael, we really appreciate you taking some time to give us some insights on how podcasters can repurpose what they're doing, and specifically if they want to check out Type Studio, they can do that, typestudio.co. We gave them your email, so it's michael@typestudio.co. Put that in the chat, and I hope people will reach out and check it out. Do you have any final thoughts for people that are wanting to repurpose their podcast and just try to increase that visibility? Any last words of wisdom for us?
Yeah, sure. First of all, thanks for having me. It was a pleasure to like do a little presentation on what I came up with, like great ideas you can use, or actually how Type Studio can help you to repurpose content. And like my last slide was, or like the almost last slide was about just start doing it and be consistent. Just take a little bit of your time and create like more content out of your podcast and distribute it everywhere, and you will definitely not regret it. And I hope you will try it out. And if you have any feedback or features you want to see in the future, just shoot me a mail. We're always happy, or like jump on a call with you, get some feedback. That's always great. And I hope you have a good time with using Type Studio, or creating your content.
Well, Michael, we really appreciate this. Thank you again. Thanks to everybody for watching. And this video will be available in Podcast Movement University, which is university.podcastmovement.com, and that's free to join. And Michael, we thank you for your time and appreciate your insights to help the community. Thank you.
Appreciate that. Thanks for having me.